Why would anyone take a crop as hard and dry as a rock and try to boil it in milk? There is a specific way to work with these plants, one that turns agricultural waste into the textures of a modern ice cream cone. In their raw state, dried corn kernels and peanuts are much too tough to chew. They are built to survive in the dirt, breaks down the plant's rigid walls, allowing the milk and sugar to soak into the fibers. This simple bit of kitchen science allowed people across the globe to turn their most difficult harvests into their favorite treats. We see this first in South America, where farmers have spent centuries finding uses for their massive supplies of tough, starchy corn. In Brazil, they take dried kernels and soak them in sweet condensed milk and coconut milk. The corn absorbs the liquid until it becomes a soft, chewy pudding called canjica. In the Philippines, the goal is different. They take those same corn kernels, but use a recipe called maja blanca. By mixing the corn with evaporated milk and cornstarch, they create a dense, wiggly treat that holds its shape when sliced. Using the same basic ingredients, corn, milk, and sugar, these cultures created two entirely different experiences by simply changing the texture. What happens when we apply this same logic to a different kind of tough crop, like the peanut? Historically, Chinese street vendors looked for ways to turn inexpensive raw peanuts into hot liquids they could serve quickly to people on the move. They learned to blend the peanuts and boil them with rock sugar. The heat and sugar worked together to melt the nut fibers into a smooth, warm soup. By completely liquidizing the nut, this process shows that the right combination of dairy and heat can erase the plant's original hard form entirely. Now, consider what happens if you go the other way. If you boil the mixture until the liquid is almost gone, you get a solid candy. Early candy makers used stoves like this one to slowly boil the dairy and sugar until the mixture became thick enough to set. This is how we get panouche, a dense, nutty fudge made with brown sugar and milk without using any chocolate. As the brown sugar and milk cook down, they create a deep butterscotch flavor that wraps around the pieces of nuts inside. By simply removing the moisture, the recipe turns a few basic farm ingredients into a complex, solid structure. Today, we process these ingredients on a massive scale. Modern factories now produce thousands of gallons of peanut-based milk every day. To make the milk, industrial presses squeeze the peanuts until they split into a wave of liquid and a block of dry material. Most factories throw this leftover pulp away, even though it is still packed with the original fiber and protein of the nut. We used to ignore this byproduct, creating tons of waste just to get to the liquid part of the plant. Scientists are now giving this leftover pulp a second life. They are taking that discarded mush and baking it into something useful. They have found a way to turn that dry material into a high-fiber, zero-waste cone that you can actually eat. This invention works because it follows the same ancient logic. It pairs a tough nut fiber with the dairy from the ice cream it holds. We've learned that the same simple steps used in old family kitchens can help us use every part of the crops we grow today.